That was peak Star Wars right there. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Did you catch the Return of the Jedi reference?
Yeah, I did.
Which one? I want to see if he knows it.
Wait, I was about to say this too.
There's two. Yeah,
There's
What?
two.
Okay, what's the second one?
Which one did you catch though, Sam?
yeah.
In the beginning of the episode?
Yes.
Wait, hold on. Freak. It was Anakin's attire, and his eye had the cut on it. I can't
Nope.
remember.
Nope.
Well, y'all just tell me. Y'all know more about Star
Okay,
Wars.
so
Nope.
Ty, do you mind if I say it?
Go ahead.
So the first one is when Ahsoka says, "I won't fight you," and Anakin says, "I've heard that before." Luke tells him that in Return of the Jedi, "I won't fight you, Father." When he's facing Vader.
Oh,
Hmm.
Second time
okay.
is when Ahsoka has the red saber to his neck. She
Hmm.
shuts it off and tosses it. Luke does the same thing once he's cut off Vader's hand and he sees how much he's turning into his father. And
Hmm.
the Emperor's just like, do it, do it, do it. And Luke just turns to him and is like, no. He tosses the saber. He's like, I'm not gonna turn into the dark side.
Hmm.
Mm.
Like George said, it's poetry. It rhymes. There's a lot of poetry in this shit. So
Right.
yeah, man.
Yeah, this one.
Psychometry, Ty. That's the I believe that's the phrase for the
Yeah, that's
ability.
it. Psychometry. Psychometry. Yep, that's it. I couldn't remember the name of it, but yeah.
There's also a Jedi, is it Fallen Order or Jedi Order reference, which is what we were talking about, Sam. That the ability, what she did with the map.
Hmm.
That's from the video game.
Yeah. It's actually also Clone Wars, I think, too, because
I think, yeah.
there's that one Jedi that gets referenced in Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Quinn and Boss.
Yeah, him. He can do it as well.
I'm a fucking nerd. I can't believe I know this stuff. Jesus.
Hmm.
Yeah. I mean, since we're already talking about it, what did you guys think of this episode? Like
Um,
collectively.
I'm gonna go last because I could ramble on, and I also want to make people know that where I stand with my coverage and all that. So everybody go first before I go.
Yeah. I mean, well, for me, I guess I'll go first. Like, again, I've not seen Rebels. I already said I've not watched Bad Batch. I haven't watched all the Clone Wars, but in terms of like certain iconography, certain moments, like I can remember. And like the whole first half, like those transitions were next level. I don't think they've done anything like that from a live action Star Wars standpoint that I can remember or see. Um, it was amazing. It was almost like elemental. I mean, the score was great, but I think the way they transitioned everything and breaking down, all the different levels of trauma that Ahsoka is kind of dealing with in one episode. And I don't know how they were able to do that in a short amount of time like that. Like they kind of really honed in on specific things that were kind of leaving her like basically stale. Like she couldn't move past any of it. And then at the same time, we talked about this last episode, Ronan, of like her dealing with who she is. Like how can she move forward if she can't even accept what he's done, what he became, or how he became that way?
Yeah.
Um, it was just amazing symmetry to me. And again, I've not seen all of Ahsoka's story, but from what they even showed in this series and this episode, it was masterfully done. And the visual effects, man, the set design, like all of it felt like classic Star Wars. But it kind of like even down to like the space whales, like that felt like so like what everybody loved about Star Trek and Star Wars back in the day. It's like going to places you've never known. Like
The
yeah,
mysticism.
yeah, like stuff like that is very fascinating. Because I was like, what the heck are these things? And then they wrote in like space whales. Like, what the heck is a space whale? And then when they were like, oh yeah, they're about to go into hyperspace. Like, wait, what? So yeah, nah, this was amazing, man. If anybody had never, if you hadn't seen any of the Ahsoka show and then watched this, you probably like, I gotta go back because I'm interested to see what Jorge and Jason got to say because it's their first episode of watching any of them. They are in that boat. Um, They haven't seen anything. They just saw this.
That's amazing.
Jorge, are you there? Are you still there?
I think he has a little message underneath his name. No microvideo because she's asleep, I think.
I'll pass the mic. Hold on. I think he came back. He left and came back. I'll let somebody else go for it.
Yo, can I nerd out for a minute? Can I really nerd out for a minute?
Go for it. There's plenty of things to nerd out about.
I know Ronan's gonna nerd out with me. So Ronan, if you jump in at any point, I don't even care, man. Like this episode was absolute peak Dave Filoni fan service and detail at its best. Oh my god. Like this episode should have been this episode literally could have been called Unfinished Business. Really. Like this isn't just her accepting Anakin. This is unfinished business for her. This is her dealing with her guilt of feeling that because she walked away from the Jedi Order and Anakin, she feels that turned him, basically tipped the scales and turned him or started him on the path to the dark side. This is their unfinished fight in Rebels on Malachor. This is everything. This is Force Anakin post Return of the Jedi handling unfinished business of doing the one thing as a Jedi he wasn't able to do, which is finish train his Padawan.
Yeah.
This is this is this is Ahsoka's um this is Ahsoka's final battle with Darth Vader, like Luke was. Like to become a Jedi, Luke had to basically confront Vader. Ahsoka had to do the same thing. This is where Ahsoka actually becomes a Jedi. The whole reference with Jason and Kane and Jarrus,
Oh,
and you don't even have to go watch the entire Bad Batch. It's literally season 1, episode 1. Um, I mean, just everything about this whole entire thing, the Purgle, um, wondering why didn't they just do that in the first place at the end of Rebels. It's I mean, there's just so much, the actual attention to detail of not just Anakin's, haircut and everything from the Clone Wars, but Ahsoka when she in season 7 when she fought Darth Maul and fought the Death Watch, Mandalorians, to even with
Mandalorians. Yeah.
yeah, even with Commander Rex there, even when they painted their helmets, when they made the 332nd Squadron,
Ahsoka
even
Squadron. Yeah.
even the detail of when they're first in the Clone Wars and she has her green lightsaber.
Yeah.
Then in that Mandalorian fight scene, she has the 2 lightsabers that Anakin gives her before they part ways.
Yeah.
I mean, there is just absolutely every single freaking detail. And even the Battle of Ryloth, where she's coping with the fact that she didn't listen to Anakin and
With the
had
Starfighters.
that
Yeah.
command, and it caused the death of so many clone troopers, and her dealing with that as well. Like, so much in this one episode. It was kind of like Dave Filoni was like, here's your smorgasbord of Jedi, of
Yeah.
Rebel, Clone Wars, the
Yeah.
first episode of Bad Batch, quick point. Here's everything. Here's all my stuff coming to a central point, the world between worlds. Like, The only thing that's missing from this episode that I wanted to see was Morai. If we got a
Yeah.
moment of Morai where Anakin sees Morai and they have a discussion about it, just the way he was like, I don't remember this because he wasn't there for that
No. Yeah.
siege on Mandalore. Like that would have been the icing on the cake for me. But I mean, absolute nerd out moment. Glad they found a way to bring Hayden Christensen back after Obi-Wan with this 10 out of 10 episode. I can't even begin to tell you. I'm even going to just say 15 out of 10 episode. This gave me everything I wanted and some, everything down to the detail. Even when she's crossing lightsabers to block Anakin's over the head shot, just like she did in Rebels, fighting him as Vader. Like everything is right here in one nice. I didn't even know you could put this in a package, and the only person who could put this in a beautiful package like this is Filoni.
Yeah.
Salute to God, man. That dude, I'm done. I had to nerd out for
No,
it's fine. So real quick, I wanna play something because I've been going back and forth with it because I know Ty said it was a reflection from the lightsaber with their clash, but I'm gonna play this real quick. So see how you guys can see it. I'm gonna just kind of go like scene for scene real quick. So this is the beginning of it, right?
Yeah.
Give a bit more time. Like you can see the reflection off on her skin, right?
Yes.
Her eyes transition right there.
Boom.
Her eyes actually transition. Like before the light gets there. I'm gonna go back just so you can kind of see it again. Because initially I was like, oh, okay, let me see. I know this is a random because you can see, you know, in the white of her eyes, you can see the lightsaber, right? And so what happens is, from my perception, like you can see the demeanor in her start to get a little bit of anger because she starts to squint a little bit and then she's starting to think about it right here. Now I'm going to go a little bit further. She moves her eyes a little bit. Still same thing. And then she squints and she kind of curls up. And then it turns to a completely different color right there. Her hues of her eyes at this point are red. And that's crazy. So it's like it even gets brighter from that point. That's before she gets closer to it. It's crazy because it could be interpreted two different ways. But the fact that Dave even went that route with it, like it's because I think it was something he had said is like everything that I've learned, everything I've got from, you know, you have. And it's like the realization of that anybody that comes from, you know, if, you know, I don't know, if a family member or a parent
lineage
or less than whatever, something had happened and you don't want to accept that side of them, like at some point you have to look at it and choose to move forward one way or another. But to not look at it, you're always going to be in fear of it, or you're always going to deal with that clashing. And it's just fascinating. She had that revelation just in that moment.
You paid attention to the details, my Padawan. You paid attention.
Agreed. It's a
I'm still gonna be quiet because again, I could vomit out everything that I spotted and whatnot, and what I think is gonna go on. But I want to let everybody let them get it out because I'm so happy that Ty got it. And I want to say this: I think I can speak for Ty and Sam about this. This is how the way I'm feeling, the way Ty's feeling, the way Mike is feeling, is the way Sam, Ty, and me felt when we watched The Last of Us. We played the game, so we knew what might come, and then when stuff popped up, we were like, "Yo, that is dot dot dot. This is dot dot dot." So everybody else keep going because ooh.
I don't know if Ant saw the whole entire thing. Jason did see the episode.
Yes.
And Jorge's mic's jacked up. But Ant, what did you think about what you saw? And were you already caught up?
I
I was not caught up, but I honestly wanted to defer to Jedi Mike because it looked like he's been trying to say something for a minute now.
Oh no, it was all intentional. I've intentionally left him. I've intentionally left him out the case.
Yo,
So I just to say I picked up when Ahsoka was pretty much in the battle. Like that's pretty much when I tuned in. And yeah, absolutely concurred it. Like she had to deal with the dark side and turning away from it and throwing the lightsaber was part of that. Um it was interesting that Anakin said there might be hope for you yet. That was a very interesting line. I don't know why, but it just lingered a particular way. Um, I knew enough about those whales that I know that's how Ezra got thrown up out of there in the first place. So, and plus, going back to like Ahsoka's first ever Disney Plus outing as a baby, like she definitely had a way with animals, especially
Yeah.
force sensitive animals.
Oh,
So,
Tales of the Jedi. Yeah.
So I was like, all right, I already see where this is going, and that's probably why she's smiling. She's like, yeah, I get to go back to what I've been doing since before I knew how to talk.
Yeah. Man, dude, that jump was crazy. Man, just give Hayden the Darth Vader series and call it like straight up, bro. Like
They're setting that. They got to be setting that up.
there's so many stories in comics. But anyway, I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna shut up. Let I guess Jedi Mike, you last on deck before Ronan.
get him, Frat, get him.
I'd have just muted
Let
Mike.
it rip, Bob.
As soon as Jedi Mike talks, I'm just gonna mute him.
Yeah. No, so I was 11 years old when Clone Wars came out back in 2009. I was in the theater and I saw Clone Wars and I saw Ahsoka Tano for the first time. I remember I was old enough, my favorite Star Wars movie of all time was Revenge of the Sith. My goal was still Return of the Jedi, but Revenge of the Sith was still was impactful for that. That was like my Empire Strikes Back for me as a kid in terms of like just the emotional story.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been almost at this point I can say almost 18 years or so.
18.
And I experienced a lot, things in my life. And I feel like, a lot, with Dave Filoni he's felt like imprinted with Ahsoka from his journey as just a director. I feel like, just as me, as not only as a fan, but just a person, like resonate with Ahsoka because we're like, she was very young when she started. To me, why beyond the whole, just not just fan service that is dangling your ears like with the Force Awakens that just there for just like dangling keys and not actually moving the story. This is what fan service why it matters. And also one thing for me, I just felt so happy with it's just that with Hayden, the where I grew up with, is that he actually got to redeem his portrayal as Anakin Skywalker because he got a lot of flack. Everyone just want to forget like we're in this age. Oh, we love Hayden and everything. I remember the days everyone thought he was horrible, but I think that as we gone to him just being from Vader and everything, and then there's just a few lines in this episode that really made it for me when he was telling the Ahsoka's like yes, it's like you come from a legacy of masters of of combat, darkness, and war and everything. But he's like, you're more than that because I'm more than that, right? And it's like that to me was we didn't just see Vader, we saw Anakin Skywalker, and he represented the balance, and that's why we didn't fully see Vader in this in the show. We saw flashes because that was his past, and he had to accept that, and Ahsoka had to accept that. But the thing is, that's not who I am anymore. I'm balanced. And that's what you saw in this episode. And with the Rex, clone troopers and everything, I taught you how to be a soldier. I didn't, and then I taught you in a different time. And now, to me, what I got teared up at the end was just seeing Ahsoka just being joyful like she used to be. Like, she's like, listen, I don't know where we're gonna go, but I just trust. And it's like, hey, let's go into the Purgle's mouth. Let's do it. That's Ahsoka. That's Ahsoka, and Rosario Dawson was getting all flack this whole season. And this is what I'm talking about with character development. If you just be patient and watch the story play out instead of just feeding to your own narrative that you want to have. We're so having having our speculation become expectation, and we have a formulated story reading leaks that never even existed. And then because it didn't come out the way we wanted, therefore it's a bad episode. That's garbage. And it's completely unnecessary. And as film fans, regardless of film criticism, whatever, we also have to check ourselves in terms of fans, knowing that the content that we're bringing to us, we have to trust the process of a writer telling his story. And this episode was pay off the foundation he put for almost 10 years, over 10 years. And this is freaking Star Wars. This is Star Wars. It is not just shameless, fan service and everything. This is Star Wars, and if folks just don't want to accept that, because of the age, the culture we live in and everything, and that to me is very frustrating. But for the fans I saw online that really felt moved by this from an objective point of view, like we felt this was almost like Luke coming back from Mandalorian season 2. But I just love this, and I'm really just so happy for Hayden. Just like for this, that a lot of actors don't have the opportunity, but he had it. Andrew Garfield had that opportunity in No Way Home, and I'm just glad he had it. He had it in these 2 episodes.
Yeah. There's something I wanted to kind of show you guys. I thought it was so fascinating. It kind of picks to what Jedi Mike is saying with the progression of her. Just using this scene. This is a dope scene. But if from this whole entire thing, from her being a girl to where we see her here, dude, I don't think and I give credit to Rosario Dawson for this because she's playing her mannerisms the whole entire time a certain specific way. This is the most emotionally compromised she's allowed her reflection of the character Ahsoka to be the entire series. And that's a credit to her, because the thing is, like, even this small little transition right here, when she's kind of transitioning, like, to what we get here, like, you can just see, like, she's a completely different free soul. It's so fascinating. I know a lot of people kind of harping it to like Lord of the Rings and Gandalf. You could take that symbolism, but it's like for the context of her character that I've seen from Tales of the Jedi to where I see now, even though I haven't seen Rebels, even though I haven't seen Clone Wars, which I'm gonna go back and watch, I promise. It's just fascinating to watch her shift to being something completely different than what you can kind of fathom from a person that was the apprentice of Anakin Skywalker. It's just amazing symmetry, because that's never something that I would have thought about, like going that route, because we've always thought about Luke, like this is his son, but technically, like, that's just his son. He never trained Luke. And so it's just fascinating to see what kind of comes from a man that is ultimate balance, true, but to see what she kind of becomes on the outside. And again, I don't know how her story ends either, but just seeing this is just fascinating.
Hey Sam, can I interject real quick too? It's so funny that we it wasn't until you hit those 3 scenes back to back, those 3 like kind of flash forwards or states in time. That was a baptism. Did we just see a baptism?
Thank you.
That was a straight up baptism.
Thank you.
She left. She dealt with a whole bunch of stuff.
Yes.
She went under, and if you noticed her the way Rosario played that situation, she just let it happen. She was not fighting it. She wasn't stressed. She wasn't worried. She just allowed it to happen. She knew it was all part of the process.
Mm.
How crazy is that?
Yeah, no, man, that's crazy. Yeah, you're right. Because even when she, what was that scene where they kind of transition? Again, the shout out to the editing and the transitions in this. This jump was nuts. But I think it was when Anakin left and it blurred the lines like before she started to sink in.
Of the
Like
platform.
the shot went from here to level, which symbolized balance. I was like, yo, I've never seen them. Because I mean, I'll go to the scene real quick. Hold on, let me just pull it up. Because where is it? Right here. Right here is when this shot, and I'll go frame for frame because YouTube will probably screw me over. It's going slowly, but it's catching up to ultimate balance. And then once it hits balance, the line is gone, right? And then that's when she starts to kind of go through. And I was like, what? who did the editing and work on this? Like who should I thank?
And I want to say this. The cards that you just showed that I sent you right now, those cards, I had seen that imagery before, and I have it saved in my archives. I was like, I've seen this shot before. Where have I seen it? And I went back and I went, holy shit. So those card designs that he made, very exclusive. He gave those out after midway through Rebels, dude. And for a while, he never talked about it or commented. People were like, what is this? What does this mean? And he's just like, I don't know. But here you go. Some free cards you can have. And the fact that like he's had these imagery in his mind for years, dude, for years. He said at one point, I'll never forget it, at Celebration at 2022, he said, while he was shooting the show, he's like, there's scenes that I'm shooting right now that I've been thinking about for 5 years since Rebel. And he's like, I've been thinking about these scenes for 5 years, and now I'm shooting them. And it's just like, anybody else got anything to say before I explode? Anybody else?
I got three quick things, and three only.
Okay.
One, gotta jump back to how they promoted this actual show, because they give Ahsoka like 4 different descriptions, like Ronin, Wanderer kind of thing, Rebel, Warrior, Jedi. Like this baptism, as Chitty mentioned, this is her going from a warrior soldier, and this is where she actually becomes a Jedi. She actually came out of that a actual Jedi now. No different than when Luke confronted his father. He didn't have to beat Darth Vader. He just had to submit to not killing him, and that's what was the difference that took him to the level of Jedi. The second thing is also keep in mind the scene that Sam showed with Ahsoka holding the red lightsaber. And I'm just going to chalk it up to a double entendre, because I think it is still the lightsaber reflecting in her eyes. But I think the outline of her eyes is considering going to the dark side. Keep in mind that when she chose life, she made the choice Anakin couldn't make when he had both of his lightsabers across Dooku's neck.
Right.
Whereas he chose death, she chose life. And I think that's why he also said there's hope for you yet, because she did what he couldn't do, right? The final thing is, keep in mind this lineage. Okay. Ahsoka is literally the Jedi descendant of Anakin, Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon, Dooku, and Yoda. And keep in mind that technically, Anakin killed 2 of his lineage, right? Killing Dooku and then not really killing Obi-Wan, but you know, they both ended. So that lineage of Jedi masters is so unique and so crazy that for her to come out while Anakin is now, is now balanced off of his son bringing balance to the Force, it's like he gave him the power to give her balance, which was basically him saying, stop blaming yourself. You walking away did not cause me to be this way, right? It played a part, but it was still his choice, right? So I got to put those out there, those three things: the lineage, her choosing what Anakin couldn't, and this baptism to where now when you see her, she is literally now a Jedi. She is now Jedi Ahsoka Tano. Done.
All right, center stage. What you got, Ronan?
Long have I waited. Listen, I wanted to make it clear, and Sam, forgive me for doing this, but I just want to make it clear for everybody that there's a reason why I'm not covering this show right now on my own channel. There's a strike going on, and I want, in my own way, support the writers and the actors. And that goes to the people who help Dave Filoni write all of the Clone Wars, all those writers, help all the other writers. He helped him build Rebels, and also all the actors. Matt Lanter has a big shout out. The feels we got seeing those flashbacks, I wouldn't be getting them if it wasn't for Matt Lanter and what he's done. So I just want to give that shout out, and there's a reason why I'm not doing that. But know this, because Sam kept asking me, did you record your reactions? I'm like, yes. Everything I've experienced with these episodes, I have it in the vault, and one day I will release them to the wind. And then that's up to people if they want to experience it or not. But
this is Ronan right here. He's walking away.
Exactly. Damn, that was poetic, Sam. Beautiful. Thank you. That was poetic. Yeah, I think someone said, I think it was Ty, somebody said, or maybe it's Mike, that like when you do fan service thing, and there's nothing wrong with fan service, it's execution. It's how you do it where it services the fans. Oh, Sam, did you break something? It's when you service the fans who have been with you and yet doesn't detract or lose the people who are coming into this new story. I have learned from Dave Filoni. Oh god damn it. I've learned from Dave patience. I've learned from Dave. That's why I kept saying the framing, because I've seen that shot similar before. I've learned from Dave, be like, you know what? I'm just happy to see her again. I'm happy to see Chopper. I'm happy to see Jason, Quyen again. But a lot of people haven't seen them before, and I gotta wait, and I'm okay with waiting to see them caught up and connect with them the way I've connected with them. Which is why, if you see my face when Quyen says Jason has abilities, his father, Kanan Jarrus, was a Jedi, I lit up because like the Joker, because I'm like, I was with them all the way when stuff hit the fan, and I just like that. If you had not, like, a good example is Sam. If you've not seen Rebels, you're getting an experience and a vibe of what I went through as a Rebels fan, seeing it, and how much I see so much of Kanan in this kid. The way his hair is green, and if you look closely in his shoulder pad, he has the same shoulder pad his dad had, which fucking ripped my heart off when I saw it the first time. But again, if you haven't seen Clone Wars, you got a mini Clone Wars episode in this episode. You got to experience what all of us experienced for years. And now it's up to you whether do you want to go back and get the full experience or not. I would be shocked if people don't go, you know what? I want to try Clone Wars now. I want to try Rebels now. It's like, go for it. You'll get a whole bigger experience than you had before. And somebody that is not getting that much shout out that I'm going to give him shout out is Kevin Kiner, the composer. The music, y'all, it is a travesty that we're not getting physical release of this music in vinyl and CD, because it is just damn beautiful. Yeah, man. And how much, again, echoes and foreshadowing. He didn't finish my training. Ahsoka, I'm here to finish your training. And I agree with I think whoever said Ty Mike that like this is on par with possibly the best Hayden has played Anakin. As good as Revenge of the Sith, in my opinion. And not only that, he went out of his way to try to alter his voice a little bit to sound more like Matt Lanter in the Clone Wars flashbacks. Like I noticed, and I was just like, this dude respects the people who have, in my opinion, elevated the material of the prequels with the Clone Wars. Yeah, man, you feel the weight. You feel the weight when these characters are looking at each other or just talking to each other. And I don't know if you guys spotted him, but I spotted Rex in the first flashback. Again, we don't interact with him; he's in the background. But I remember when you see it, I almost crying, be like, "I see him! I see Rex! He's over there! He's not gonna talk with us right now." But yeah, the flashing in frame of Anakin and Vader, how much that thing is gonna be like poetry went out. Look at that dude! Look at that dude! Oh my god!
Slow down. You're okay.
Um,
You're gonna be okay.
And again, I think you said it, Sam. I wish I could have seen this in theaters. It was built to be shown in theaters, in my opinion. And I'm glad at least you saw Tales of the Jedi. That way you had some form or fashion of how stuff in Clone Wars was going. So I'm glad you at least saw that.
Yeah.
And yeah, shout out to the editing, the sound mixing, the fact that they went out of the way. She didn't fight Vader, but she at a certain point we hear Vader's voice. You lack conviction. They went out of the way to do that. It wasn't just showing us. Be like he sounds like Vader at points, and the haunting visuals that we get with that. And oh man, that is cinema. I don't give a shit what those old directors say. That is cinema right there. I don't care. That is cinema. That is not treading on what Star Wars is. That is what inspired Star Wars. Kurosawa, somewhere in heaven, is smoking a cigar and be like, "This kid is good. This kid is learning from the masters. This kid is good." Yeah, shout out to everybody. I and the little girl who played Ahsoka, who was young Gamora in Infinity War. Shout out to her.
She's getting her money.
That's
Yeah, she was also in
Barbie.
Barbie
Barbie.
recently.
She's Barbie.
God, dog, get the bag.
No, give her the bag.
Yeah, they're gonna fool around, make her like Weapon X23 or something.
And make it
crazy.
turn to X24 in the MCU.
23.
Or X20, yeah,
I
whatever.
will say this because I think Ty said it. Where I think what Dave did in Book of Boba Fett or Book of Booba Fett, the way Sam likes to say it. There's the episode where we see Ahsoka with Luke, we see Cad Bane, we see all of them. You know, we see all the worlds and timelines in one episode. That was this episode. Dial up to 11, with a meaning for the titular character. And if none of you have known, Dave and Rosario have been saying we've been talking a lot about Ahsoka the way we talked about Gandalf the White, Gandalf the Gray. Again, poetry, it rhymes. It's gone to that point. And yeah, all the thing I need now as a fan, I just need Ashley Eckstein in the makeup one time. I just need that. Just do that for me one time, and I'm a happy camper. That's it.
So okay, I think unanimously everybody said this is an amazing episode.
Fuck yeah.
My question to you guys is, what happens to Sabine's character after this? Now, well, correct me if I'm wrong. None of you know where these characters are going to go because this takes place after Rebels, takes place after Clone Wars, takes place after Bad Batch. The only thing we know is there's an in-between gap between now and The Force Awakens, which is, how many years?
30 years. Between Return of the Jedi and Force Awakens is 30 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
right now, I think there's still 20 years difference.
And I don't think The Mandalorian takes place anytime during this. So what
Season
happens?
Season 3 takes place around the same time as this.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's why she's not in that season.
So where does Sabine's character go from this point, making the decision that she made? and I will leave that as the last tidbit to this because I think it's very fascinating to see her reconcile what she wants slash needs. Because I don't foresee her being able to let go. I mean, I'm not saying she's a bad person. I'm not saying she can't be tempted by the dark side. I just don't see her letting go of Ezra. Even if she gets Ezra, it's the fact of would she be willing to forsake everything for Ezra? I don't know. I'm just curious y'all's perspective on it. Again, I don't know enough about Ezra. I just know how the actress that plays the role of Sabine, how devoted she is to the idea of him. I don't even know if they were actually in a relationship. It's just how connected she is. So
That's a funny comment.
Who wants to fire off at that one first?
I will say this. There might be a theory of saying we don't know what happens after because the ending of at Rebels season 4, at least the ending left for interpretation in terms of where and when it takes place. Even though we got at least a slight
version.
confirmation that it was episode 1, but if you see what those, even though there's some similarities, if you see what some folks is wearing, they haven't had what they're wearing in that episode, in the ending of the episode. So, which is why I don't want to say what I think is going to happen. I'm just saying for Sabine, she's going to go to a journey where, like, be careful what you wish for. Because even though you might get what you get, it may not. No, this is not going to go the way you think. And again, we only seen about 5. They said 5 seconds from episode 6 to episode 8. Because you look all the trailer footage, the only thing we've seen that we haven't seen yet in the episode is Thrawn.
Yep.
Other than that, we have not seen anything else. We know Thrawn,
including this episode.
We've seen Thrawn in the trailers, but we have not seen Ezra, other than like the hologram. We have not seen anybody. Like, we don't know where in the galaxy beyond they're going. So these next, which is we're actually very fascinating. We have not in a position of Disney Plus shows have the other half of the season. We have not seen anything because they really was showing them in the trailers. We have not seen anything other than just Thrawn. So, but I think with Sabine is where she's gonna be in the position, whether she's gonna be after Ahsoka, but in the remaining episodes, is that she's gonna get to a point where she's fighting for this because this is the only family she feels she has left, right? And I feel like she's gonna need to get that closure. But how she feels about that closure and how us as fans who have followed this journey, I think that's left for interpretation when we get to that point. But that's my stance on it.
Anybody else?
I'll go last again.
All right. Let's keep something in mind here. We have to be like Jedi Mike said, we have to be very open because this is now the first time ever in Star Wars history where we're going to an actual other galaxy far, far away. A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away has always been this galaxy, right? Right here. Coruscant, Tatooine, Outer Rim, all those, we've always stayed centralized here. This is the first time now we're going outside of that. We're going beyond that. So this is really something that we kind of have to follow Ahsoka's mindset. Let's just see what happens. But to answer your question, or my theory to your question, Sam, is I think Sabine is going to get exactly what she wished for, but she's not going to be happy about it. And I think however she responds and reacts to that, Ahsoka, the new Ahsoka, Jedi Ahsoka, will be there to bring her back from wherever whatever cliff she's going to walk off, because she's going to be dealing with the fact that she basically betrayed Ahsoka. which we all knew was coming. I don't think she's going to get the result of Ezra that she wants because, like Mike said, we've seen Thrawn, we have not seen Ezra, and my thing is if you've whisked somebody off to another galaxy and the only person you've seen is the villain, you kind of got to think something has happened to the hero at this point. But nothing is guaranteed in this aspect. So she's got to deal with that. She's got to deal with the betrayal. And she's and because her emotions are so tied to Ezra, almost the way Anakin's is tied to his mother, in terms of this is the only quote unquote family I've got. She could take this and if anything, Balin Skull could take this and use her to take her down a semi dark path. Because remember, Balin Skull is Jedi, but he's not Jedi, but he's not really Sith either. He kind of walks that line. So I believe that we have to go into this with just an open mind and respect the fact that and have faith in Dave taking us out of our comfort galaxy to somewhere else. Because remember, even Jason said when the Purgle were getting ready to leave off, Jason told his mother, Mom, it's just like the stories you told me where Ezra took the bad guys far, far away. you know.
Right.
So we're in a whole new realm, whole new script. But I think for Sabine, she's going to have to go through her own uh journey of redemption, and we can only just hope she gets that handled by the end of the series. And everything that happened with Ahsoka was her preparing to help her and get her back to the right path for her to be her true Padawan and continue that Jedi Padawan training.
Okay. I'm with it. Oh. What up, Jedi Mike?
What the
Yo,
hell?
yo, Mike said
Um,
Mike cosplayed this piece. I
Damn.
love it.
Gandalf, I mean Mike. Okay, so to your question, I think Sabina's gonna finally learn. There's gonna be a big trial for her, not just because of Ezra, but because they mentioned something very pivotal in the last episode. Was that Balin knows that her parents, her family died on Mandalore, and that it was because her master didn't trust her. So she has to deal with that, and also the notion of Ezra. I think what the, I think that um, much like Soka, much like Soka. Damn it, Mike. She's gonna find also an enlightenment once she reaches that destination. And Mike touched on that a bit. I'm gonna say this: the way episode 2 ended, Sam, where Sabine sees the mural and then she turns around and sees Ahsoka waiting for her. Let's just say things don't or aren't the same as I seen them before, and I've seen things. And especially now with how she is Ahsoka, things are lining up more to what I've seen. And I just besides Sabine, to me, because everybody's going Google for Gaga for Anakin, and they should be. Hayden deserves all that love and whatnot. And I love that beautiful shot. Look at that mural.
Can't
My
believe
only
they
thing that
actually
I have to,
saw the mural. That's the crazy thing.
It's nice to see that in person.
Yeah, that was
yeah.
actually
All I'm telling you is that folks, be wary and be ready for this because, again, we haven't seen this guy yet. This guy is a whole series, a whole show unto himself. The way he is, the way he acts, the way he interacts to allies and enemies. And
So how do you? I mean, I don't want to, you know, derail anything for any of you guys, but how do you guys feel the fact that? I mean, is there only 8 episodes, right?
yes,
and we're in episode 5, so we only got 3 episodes. Really, realistically, probably 2 episodes that you're only going to get thrown in. How you feel about that? I mean, I'm not saying that they're not going to make a second season of Ahsoka. They could. But how do y'all feel like that? I mean, I don't have any stake in it. I ain't never seen the man.
I think it is a smart choice because this is also for a lot of people who aren't familiar with him. I know, Mike know, Ty's know who the danger of Thrawn and how good of a antagonist or anti-villain he is. Like he is that good. It's smart, and especially if he does play a factor in Filoni's movie. I'm talking Thrawn level, dude. I'm Thrawn level. Thanos level. I'm talking Thanos level, dude. Maybe not in strength of physicality, but the mind.
Wait, you said Dave Filoni Star Wars movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's 3 Star Wars films. You got the Rey or sequel trilogy, sequel after Episode 9. You have the Origin of the Jedi, which is with James Mangold, and then you have the Mandalorian film or universe film that Dave Filoni will be helming. So that means all the Disney Plus shows that are in that current timeline, like Mandalorian, Ahsoka, Skeleton Crew, which we haven't seen yet, but coming. All that combined into that wrapped into that story. But Dave Filoni is helming that. So to answer that question, like we don't know. We know the terms of the timeline. Like we're gonna get Skeleton Crew after this. Acolyte is not even associated with this. Different timeline, but we don't know about release schedule. Like hey, there's Ahsoka season 2. When is the movie coming out? All that stuff like that. But yeah, so I think that's where fans can be left. Like, well, let's say, well, Avengers. No, Civil War just ended, but we know when Infinity War comes out. Like, no, we don't know that. We're not in that position. So some fans will be duped where they'd be like, wait, this it? You know,
So that's fascinating because I'm reading it now. It says this film will close out the stories of The Mandalorian, The Book of Boba Fett, and Ahsoka, and any other related series on Disney Plus. But the interesting thing is during that time frame, isn't Luke training the new Jedi, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's crazy.
So
that means any of these characters could be, any of the actors could be in this film.
That's what I'm saying is that Thrawn is the Thanos. I've been saying this for years since Mandalorian started. And when she said, "Where is your master? Where is Grand Admiral Thrawn?" He is the Thanos. This is going to be the precursor. This is them like T2. Judgment Day, you could postpone it, but it's inevitable. The First Order is coming. We can't avoid that. That's happening. But we could postpone that danger. And that's why the Rebels crew, Ahsoka and the Clone Wars crew, and Mando and those crew are going to team up and like stop this threat. And dare I say it might end up having to do something that they've never done before with villains and heroes. Because I shouldn't say that. Never mind. That's revealing too much that I don't want to give them in case they do this. But like just say this. Thrawn isn't like the Emperor. He's not like Darth Vader. I'll even tell you this. You might be shocked by this. Thrawn was alive in the Empire around the time when it took over in Rebels, and he figured out they were making the Death Star and disapproved of it. He was like, "Tell me what the Death Star is, and I don't agree with this." And everybody was like, "What? What do you mean you don't approve of it?" He's like, "I don't approve with the Death Star." And that is all I'm going to tell you because I know stuff that's happened, and I feel they're going to play those storylines onwards. Especially, and I was at Celebration, especially when they've said that the creator of Thrawn and the original Heir to the Empire trilogy, which people consider the sequel trilogy, but they turn into Legends. The author and the creator of Thrawn in those books has been a consultant and has been talking a lot back and forth with Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau about where these stories are going and where that movie might be heading. So know this, that even if this show ends in an unexpected way, it is designed to be that way and is in thorough detail what Dave is doing. Like I said, in Mando season 3, the first episode, again, while they're in the hyperspace lanes, we see the Purgos in the distance. We see them. That wasn't just a local detail. That's hinting at what you're gonna get in another show. So make that they're sparing no expense, and that I think Sabine is gonna stay a true person, but is gonna have to deal with a reality check. And Thrawn isn't someone you just beat and walk away. I'll say this. From what happened in Rebels, it took the Rebels crew 2 seasons to get ahead of this guy. It took him 2 seasons of television to finally get on even level with this guy. You can't beat him 1-to-1. He is that calculative. He is the Sherlock Holmes of Star Wars. He is that smart and how calculating.
Well, and I think my thing with this is like, I because the Heir of the Empire storyline is so ingrained within,
Yeah.
with Luke, Han, and Leia and everything in terms of the books. But I wish they would have just gone the route of just recasting and just get Sebastian Stan to play Luke,
So
and so he
this is the funny thing about
that
that. I literally was like, I mean, to be let's keep it a buck.
yeah.
They could just go ahead and do this. I mean, if
I
what's
love Mark Hamill. I love Mark Hamill. And
But
I'm
it's
so
just
glad they made
because
him
it's
part of
just
it.
the
the
only
problem
thing
is that they keep CGing over it, and they could do so much more with Luke as a character if they just go ahead and just recast. I mean, technically the same thing could be said for Leia, but I
Which they
mean,
mention her. They mention Leia in the fucking episode. Senator Organa is helping us out.
um,
I'm telling you, it's not a coincidence that they're showing Luke and Ahsoka interact. That Leia
yeah.
is mentioned. It's not a coincidence.
Yeah,
yeah,
I just think with Book of Boba Fett, like, yes, definitely, good, up in the CGI from Mandalorian season 2.
Yes.
But for me personally, as a narrative perspective, like, listen, I would rather sacrifice Twitter and or YouTube and folks, people complaining why they just cast somebody and then now that you want to they've been CGIing this dude the whole time. No. I like and have a good efficient story that involves Thrawn, but also you have to have Luke just for the sake of the timeline and make sense for him being ingrained in this. It's just like, and then also, this is also a thing too. We can also in future get a opportunity of seeing, if Hayden can come back again and now have something with Luke at a particular time. Because then that just make the whole thing full circle. We thought, man, we wanted, Hayden, Ahsoka, and Luke together in some form or fashion to like, hey, but we don't have the opportunity, but we could if we just recast and just get Sebastian Stan. What he's saying he's open to. We already know he already been in interviews
Yeah.
talking about it, but
yeah.
it
He's
just
he's he's he's
But what?
always
But look at.
been an open book for that. But
But look what that says about Dave. That he respects. Again, it's a choice. The bold choice. You got to CG the character, and the much money and time constraint. But also look at that. Dave is saying, I respect Mark Hamill so much that he's a part of the process. And dare I say it, this might be the most fun time Mark's had with the character since Return of the Jedi. That he's actually getting to do the stuff he's always wanted and thought about. What is Luke after Return of the Jedi? And if you don't mention him, if you don't bring him up, or Leia, or Han, or the Falcon in some form or fashion during this time period, it just feels off. It feels like we're deliberately ignoring it. Doesn't mean it
ignoring
has to be.
them.
yeah,
Yes.
It doesn't mean it has to be
yeah,
centerfold. Doesn't have to mean it has to be in the foreground. It could be in the background, and yet that is making the universe whole. In Rogue One, we don't see Hera, but we hear in the intercom, General Syndulla report to da, 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 and we see Chopper crossing the frame. We see the ghost in the background. That just makes it whole and makes this universe more connective than ever, in my opinion.
yeah. I think it's just interesting when you talk about the concept of recast. That could be its own discussion because I
Yeah,
personally feel like Millie Bobby Brown, when she gets a little bit older, bro, like she'd be amazing Princess Leia, straight up.
I I think she would be
Um,
great.
but
To me, something would be poetic is if you get Carrie Fisher's daughter, who played Leia in the flashback in Rise of Skywalker, get her to play a young Leia.
yeah,
That'd be poetic as well. But Millie Bobby Brown as Princess Leia is not a bad casting in my opinion as well.
yeah. But I mean, that again, that can be its own discussion.
Yeah.
It's just I think when it comes to if you want to continue this down, and they keep trying to say they want to get rid of Skywalker, remove themselves from Skywalker, but Skywalker is technically in the DNA of Star Wars and of itself. You can never ultimately completely disperse itself from it. I think you can maneuver around creating new characters, new ideals, past, present. There's so many amazing arcs, but then there's so many different threads of these characters that you can go and pivot to. that we've never seen in a live action format. But again, I'm gonna cut that there. I'm just gonna leave my 2 cents. I know Ronan's about to go a different route. We've been going for 2 hours.
Which I told you it was gonna happen.
And we're gonna stop.
Can I just say one thing? I just want to say one thing. I'm happy this exists, and guess what? I'm also happy Andor exists. That's a whole thing that I love just as much as Ahsoka. I love it just as much as Ahsoka. I'm happy that Acolyte is gonna come through. Y'all haven't seen the footage that they showed at Celebration. I'm telling you, some kung fu Force stuff is coming our way with Acolyte. That's all I'm gonna say. All of this works in together, and it's different pockets. You get westerns, you get political thrillers, and you get samurai stuff. It works in Star Wars. Star Wars is that big of a universe. That's all I'm gonna say.
I'm gonna leave it there. Hope you guys enjoyed this long discussion on episode 5. Hope you guys enjoyed me and Ronan's discussion and background on episode 4 that we didn't get to do last week, but we officially did record today. And thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks everybody for joining the discussion. We out. Really directed by Dave Filoni. What is wrong with you? All right, y'all. We're gonna look at more anime. Peace out.